What's going on, Dodgers Nation? Welcome to another episode of Designated Twitter. And on today's show, what does the future hold for Bobby Miller? How will the Dodgers use him? What will his role be? Will he take over in the Dodgers starting rotation? That's coming up. But first, if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. And if you really want to support the channel, you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And for all latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. So last night in Atlanta, Bobby Miller, he was outstanding in his big league debut. Bobby Miller, for his first start of his career, he goes 5 innings, allows 1 run, had 5 punch outs, and he was fantastic, especially after that first inning. In the first inning, you saw lots of hard contact, but then after that, he was missing barrels all night. He ended up going with that breaking stuff, going with the changeup, going with the slider. So that was what was most impressive to me about Bobby Miller's debut, is we know he has the gas. We know he has triple-digit heat, but it is the repertoire of pitches. You talk to scouts, they'll tell you that even though he has that velocity, even though he has that gas, that his best pitch could be his off-speed stuff. That is how he keeps hitters off balance, and you saw him do that. The other thing that was so impressive to me was the fact that that velocity, he had it deep into his start. You saw his last pitch to Olsen. He gets him with that filthy slider on the inner half, gets him to chase that, but you look at the velocity, he was still hitting 99.8 miles per hour there in the 5th inning. You saw him dotting that fastball top of the zone. 6 of his pitches hit 100 miles per hour or more, 28, 99 miles per hour or more. So, yeah, he's going to be breaking radar guns around Major League Baseball. So the big question today, though, is what are the Dodgers going to do with Bobby Miller? Because Dave Roberts has already said that he is going to get another start in his turn in the rotation. And if you look at this Dodgers starting rotation right now, it is a concern. If you look at the injuries to Dustin May, who was placed on the 60-day IL, what did I tell you when they said he was going to be out 4 to 6 weeks? I said he was most likely going to be on that 60-day IL, so he's going to be out for quite some time, and I think that's the right move. You don't want to rush Dustin May back, especially when you look at the Prominator, definitely some severity to that injury. And then you look at Julio Urias, who they placed on the 15-day IL with that left hamstring strain. And then across the board, there's some question marks. Gavin Stone, he didn't look great, but he grinded out in his second big league start. I think he's starting to show some promise. And then, of course, Clayton Kershaw, 2 rocky outings, the first time in his career that he's gone back-to-back starts where he hasn't been able to get into the 4th inning, to get past that 4th inning. So, yeah, if you look at this rotation as a whole, what Bobby Miller brings is he brings firepower. He brings velocity. He brings that upside. And you saw that limitless potential on display. You see what he has. You can't teach that. What he has, you can't teach. Now, are we going to have another Fernando Mania? Is it going to be Miller Mania? No. Is there a chance that he could possibly be one of the best 5 starting pitchers in the Dodgers organization right now? I think the answer could be yes. I think it should be Miller time. I think it should be Bobby's world. I think when Bobby Miller goes out there on the mound, he gives this team a chance to win games. And look, you know Miller, that is the champagne of beers, and Bobby Miller can help this team have a champagne party in the World Series. And he told me that himself. I asked Bobby Miller during spring training, I said, what are your goals for this season? And most of the time when you ask pitchers that, most of the time when you ask players questions like that, you get cliche after cliche. They'll say they want to stay healthy. They'll say they want to throw strikes. Not Bobby Miller. He told me he wants to pitch in the playoffs. He told me he wants to pitch in a World Series. That is where his brain went. So that tells me a lot about the standard this guy has for himself, the expectations that he has for himself. And the bottom line is that when it comes to pure raw stuff, he gives the Dodgers the best chance of having an elite starting pitcher that has the repertoire and the arsenal to have pitchers that play up in the postseason. So I think another big benefit is you work him in now, and then he'll be right for the postseason. So I think there's no question that either Gavin Stone or Bobby Miller was going to be a weapon that they were going to turn to come October. But still, I think to me, the question I had was, would the velocity carry throughout the entire start? He goes 5 innings. Look, he could have probably gone another 6th inning. But yeah, like I said, I was so impressed with the way he used that pitch mix, all 5 of those pitches. You saw 25 sliders, 23 changeups, and the Braves were 0 for 8 against his breaking balls and 0 for 3 against his changeups. changeups. That tells me that he isn't a guy that's going to rely solely on that heater. He has the mix to get it done at this level. And yes, he hasn't made too many starts, just 4 starts at the AAA level, 8 starts at the AAA level combined. But look, the reality is you're never ready to pitch in the show. You're never ready to pitch against big league hitters. So you have to throw him in there and see what he can do. And look, the reality is too, it is necessity. Look, necessity is the mother of invention, and this team needs another elite starting pitcher. And yes, they have been judicious with the way they've handled their pitchers coming up. They haven't rushed guys through, but this is a guy that pitched in college. This is a guy that's 24 years old. I think he's ready for the bright lights of the big leagues. I think Bobby Miller, his time is now, and I think he gives a much needed spark to this Dodgers starting rotation, because if you're not going to go out there and make a trade, if you're not going to go out there and try to make a trade for a guy like a Lucas Giolito or an Aaron Nola or someone like that at the deadline, that really is the only way to expeditiously fix this rotation, and you're going to have to look internal at this stage of the season. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And look, it's tough to expect him to go out there and deal every single start. And I think too, that's another reason why it was so impressive, is that it was against this Atlanta Braves team in Atlanta, one of the most potent and explosive lineups in Major League Baseball, coming off a loss. So it made it that much more impressive. But yeah, I think what it showed me is this guy knows how to pitch and he's ready for the big stage. Now, when Walker Buehler comes back, he's going to have to give his pants back, and they have to get 2 pairs. They pretty much wear the same size pants, and I do think he does look a little bit like baby Buehler out there. But yeah, this kid's electric. He deserves his opportunity, and I want to see more of Bobby Miller in this show. But I asked the staff here that question: what should the Dodgers do with Bobby Miller for the remainder of the season? And here were their takes.
Yeah, I would definitely love to see him get a lot more starts moving forward. I know that he's a young guy, but we know that youth movement is very strong in the lands of the Dodgers right now. He was there by the last 5 innings and only allowed 1 run while also striking out 5 batters. I think the writing is on the wall here, and even if he doesn't stay with the roster for the rest of the year, just ride him until you can't no more.
Yeah, I love what I saw from Bobby Miller in his first start. I know Dave Roberts said that he might only get, he said at least 1 more start in the rotation. I hope he gets more than that. I think when Julio Urias returns, there'll be 1 spot. I think Miller should get that spot, assuming he's continuing to pitch the way he does. And I don't think we have to worry about where his spot is until Dustin May returns. And when that comes, if Miller's playing well enough, I think he deserves to stay in the rotation. I don't think he's to go back down. He's playing better in the MLB than he did in AAA or AA, so let him ride as long as he keeps pitching this way, and maybe he can even make an impact in the postseason. You never know.
Bobby Miller is here to stay. Heck, even have him be in the rotation in the playoffs. I'm just kidding, getting a little ahead of ourselves. But I love what I seen from Bobby Miller yesterday. I think he is the future. He was a first-round pick for a reason, and why not start it now? Gavin Stone is here, so just ride Bobby Miller all the way, and you never know. Maybe he could be the next Walker Buehler. We'll see.
But those are their fire takes, and here are your takes over on Twitter. Dodger Dash tweeted, "I'm going to be realistic here. Dodgers are going to send him back down when May comes back from the IL. However, he will make the postseason roster as a reliever." So some good points there. I think if he goes through the entire season, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think there is a meritocracy in play when it comes to the Dodgers starting rotation. And of course, he's not going to leapfrog pitchers like Julio Urias, like Clayton Kershaw, like Tony Gonsolin, like Dustin May. Those are 4 starters that have cemented their role in this rotation. But I think if you look at that 5th spot, I think you could make the case that it is up for grabs. We'll see what Michael Grove has. We'll see what Ryan Pepiot has whenever he gets his opportunity. We'll see what happens with Noah Syndergaard, who has not lived up to expectations so far this season. So I definitely think there is a world where he gets an opportunity. And also, we'll see what happens with Gavin Stone, because Gavin Stone, some rocky starts for the Stoner, and I think the big key for him, you want to see him improve that command. You want to see him develop that 3rd pitch. I mean, he has 2 strikeouts at the big league level, and none of them are via that world-class changeup that he has. But I'm still a big believer in Stone, but I do think that there could be some flexibility with Bobby Miller, and when it comes to the postseason, they're going to go with the best arm. So yeah, I like that take from Dodger Dash over there. And this is from HMD at HMD455. Let him be a starter for the Dodgers. I think he is ready for the majors. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much seems to be the consensus. I do think it is a long season, and expectations are sky high right now, especially when he performs the way he did in his big league start. Also, the fact that he gets the win he goes out there and helps this team just look like a different rotation. Also, he was the first Dodgers starting pitcher to get a win in his first start since 2016. Jose De Leon did it. Who remembers Jose De Leon? Shout out to him. Only 13 Dodgers in the decorated history, in the rich history of this organization, have gotten the dub in their first start. So, yeah, I think a lot of people think he's ready. I think he's a perfect example, too, of a guy that I don't want to say he was born at the AAA level, but I will say that the light absolutely turned on when he was in the show. As Noah pointed out, he almost pitched better at the big league level than he did in AA, than he did in AAA. I will say some of the reasons for that are the way this Dodgers pitching staff, the way this development team works is they have guys tinkering with certain pitches in certain sequences and the way they attack hitters. So I think at the big league level, they're just trying to get hitters out. They're trying to get 27 outs, and they want to have Bobby Miller go out there with his best stuff. So I think there's that freedom in play too, knowing that, hey, you got Will Smith, you had that Louisville battery connection there with Will Smith, two Louisville Cardinals going at it. So I think too, that in play, that he doesn't have to worry about working on certain pitches and sequences. They're going to try to go with the pitch that they think can hit that batter out during that at bat. But next one comes from Andrew Francis over on Twitter. I'm Andrew Francis. Dodgers currently have an all-star rotation on the IL. Let him cook. Yeah, I mean, at this point in the season, they need starting pitching. They have been, to an extent, the injury bug has already sunk its teeth into this Dodgers starting rotation. I don't think there's anything serious with Julio Urias. Dustin May was a major blow, especially when you consider that he was emerging the way he was. But yeah, I think that it's a perfect situation. And I think actually it's great timing, because let's say they hit on Bobby Miller. Let's say that Bobby Miller proves that he's that guy. Hey, you don't have to be as aggressive at the deadline. Maybe you do have another starting pitcher that you have confidence in that can help you in the postseason and beyond. This next one comes from Pedro Mesa at Pedro Mesa 16. Keep Miller time on tap. Yeah, I love that one. Keep Miller time on tap. And yeah, I think that's definitely what you need to do at this point. I mean, you got to give this guy an opportunity, give him that runway, and see what he can do with it. Then next one comes from T Love at Lover Struck, who tweet out, they should be vigilant in protecting his health, keep pitch counts reasonable, and keep Will Smith calling pitches. So two excellent points there, and I think you have to give Will Smith a lot of credit last night, because Bobby Miller said after the game he trusted Will Smith. He didn't call off any of his pitches, and I think, yeah, you love him behind the dish when Miller's on the bump. But also when it comes to his pitch count and just keeping him healthy, look, keeping him healthy, I think means that you're giving him consistent starts. You're allowing that arm to stay stretched out. And I think with this organization we've seen the past few years, there is this mentality where you keep some of these guys on ice for a little too long. I mean, you keep guys under this bubble wrap. You keep using these kid gloves. You can't do that with Bobby Miller. If you have a Lamborghini in the garage, you have to drive it, especially when you consider the injuries that they're dealing with. So, yeah, I mean, if you're going to throw 100 pitches at the big league level, yes, you might see more stress. Yes, you might be reaching back into that adrenaline tank a little more, but still it's about consistent starts. But yeah, I agree to a certain extent, but I still think that Bobby Miller is built for this, especially currently with the current makeup of this rotation. So I think you have to factor that in as well. But next we've got Gen X _Raider. Break him in slowly. Don't break him early. So look, I mean, we saw Clayton Kershaw back in 2008 when Joe Torre sent him down. You're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have guys have rough starts. He's going to take his lumps at times, but still, like I said, if he's pitching like he pitched against the Braves and he continues to perform at that level, you have to give guys opportunities and you have to do what's best for not only the team, but for Bobby Miller. And I can guarantee you, just speaking to this guy, he wants to be on the mound at the big league level. And I think at some point, you got to take those training wheels off and let him shine. So yeah, to an extent, I understand. And then also you factor in the trade possibility. If you're going to go after Shohei Ohtani, if they do make him available, I guarantee the first guy they're going to look at now will be Bobby Miller. So you don't want to hurt that trade value, and that's just kind of looking at this from all angles. But yeah, I think Bobby Miller is totally fine. Another thing to consider too is they built him up slowly this season. He had shoulder soreness early in the year, and I know that is something that they've dealt with Bobby Miller. I mean, he said he felt great during spring training, but he was dealing with that shoulder soreness, and as long as it's not barking up, he should be good to go. But our next one comes from Just a Depressed Fan. And it's going to be our Hornitos Twitter, designated Twitter tweet of the week. This comes from Just Depressed Fan. It is a gif of Woody saying, hold up, let him cook. Yeah, I agree with that. Let him cook. And that is from our friends over at Hornitos. Please drink responsibly. King. And next comes from @the_cat53. The Dodgers are very good at developing pitching by bringing pitchers up and then sending them back to AAA to work on things. I think this will continue with Miller, Stone, Pepio, and Grove. Yeah, that's a fantastic point. That's something that Ryan Pepio talked to me about in the offseason. Is you get those options, you have the option rule, you have the ability to send guys down and continue to refine the process, continue to study film and make some adjustments. And then when they come back, you can see how they fare against big league hitters. So definitely that's something they're going to utilize. But like I said, this team, we're only in the month of May. I mean, look, we all knew that Gavin Stone and Bobby Miller were going to make their debuts this year, but not many people knew it was going to be before June. So that tells you a lot about the injuries that this team has already suffered. And at some point, yeah, you definitely want to preserve guys. You don't want to rush guys through, but on the same token, you need to go out there and win ball games. And there's a scenario where just to stay competitive, they're going to need these guys to perform. And I think it comes down to Bobby Miller and Gavin Stone, and we'll see what they get from Ryan Pepio and Michael Grove when they return as well. But yeah, they definitely utilize that method, and that's definitely something the Dodgers are focused on doing, and that is a part of the development process. But let us know down below in the comment section, what do you think the Dodgers should do with Bobby Miller? Do you think they should keep him up? Do you want to see 10, 15, 20 starts for him? I mean, do you think he should be your game one starter for the NLDS? Go crazy. Let us know all your takes about Bobby Miller and this Dodgers organization. There's Bobby Miller right there. I'll call him back. But let us know down below. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMAC_LA. For all things Dodger baseball all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And until next time, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.